Today is Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of the finale of season 42 of Survivor.
The finale episode is titled, It Comes Down to This. That was spoken by Jonathan. Here's Probst welcoming us to the finale. He tells us there's so many options, and I discounted that. I didn't think much of it, but Probst was right. There were options I had not anticipated.
Yep.
And he gives us kind of a pointless pump up, but okay, that's cool.
Then everybody tells us how they're going to win.
Lindsay says it's about savagery, and Mike's going to go extra, and Marianne's going to close a deal. Romeo's wearing a tiara, and Jonathan gives us something else, and I don't know. I was tuning him out. I thought, I think I saw this already.
Come on.
Yeah, let's get to
it. Listen, we were very excited for the episode.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
We just want to get to it. Want to see what happens. Come on.
Night 23, coming back from that tribal council. They go into a lockdown anytime they're traveling. They can't talk to each other. They're not supposed to communicate either verbal or non-verbal at all. So I got to think Lindsay's stewing a little bit. She's panicking and she's frustrated, and things did not go her way. So they get out of the boat, and now they got to find their new camp because they don't get to return to their previous one, even though we just call it Kula Kula.
And they find it. They find their new beach, and it has no shelter and just a machete. And Lindsay's like, yep. Is there more? It's
bizarre, she says. There's no tarp.
That's all you get, girl.
Mike's good with it. Here's home. Romeo says he's happy. He made the final five. And Marianne says that she is actually on cloud 9. She is here to play, and she finally has a chance.
And the jury now knows it.
Yes. She woke up on day 23.
Okay.
And made
Better
a move.
Late than never.
Yeah.
Actually, I think she woke up before that, but...
Oh, I'm not saying she was sleeping the whole time.
No. Absolutely, she wasn't. So.
And you can tell that Lindsay is rattled because she immediately gets in an argument with Jonathan.
She should be rattled. Well, yeah, that part I didn't enjoy because I was like, okay, Jonathan may be saying things in a way that just is pushing her over the edge with her annoyance level.
Was he really, though?
However, I'm with him. You voted for me.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I think
you voted for me.
She had a big helping of hypocrite soup on the way back.
What do you mean I didn't tell you the plan?
Yeah, you turned on me. You think I didn't know that? You think I didn't have other plans? And certainly they did hide a lot of his actual strategic game from us, from what we've now learned with the whole idol nullifier and how he and Omer knew about that. And then he found Jonathan had shared that with Mike, and then he found out that Lindsay knew about it. And so this sequence of events that led to the day 23 culmination in that tribal council they just returned from. There's definitely a lot going on, but yeah, she was heavy into the hypocrite mode there.
I guess I was that affected me because then when Romeo started talking, I wrote boo-hoo. I thought, oh, Joanne. And he's like, everybody votes for me. Every tribal council is like, well, that is true. And
yeah, but he prefaced it with, and oh, by the way, everyone, I have an idol, so I'm going to 4.
Yeah. I'm going to lie. I'm going to tell him I have an idol, and I'm going to show him this fake one. I thought, but
seemed to be working on Mike because he commended him for not playing it.
I thought it looked just like the other things that were around his wrist. same kind of beads and stuff to me. From what I could see.
I think I mentioned it before, but Ricard had said that the immunity idol bracelets looked like what came on tree mail, with the exception of an extra bead on it. So
the last time I pointed that out,
they had dumbed down what the immunity idol bracelets looked like to the point that they were easily fakeable. And hey, to Romeo's credit, he moved on that.
That's right. I appreciate that effort, certainly. It was the whining that I was boo-hooing about. Okay, day 24. Jonathan's still asking Mike, well, why didn't Lindsay play her idol?
Mm-hmm.
And that really didn't 100% get answered, I guess.
We didn't get answered at all, right?
Well,
in the context of the show, we know some other things.
We got an answer that she said she didn't want to play it because she didn't want to put that out there, that she would play it for Omar. She didn't want him to see that. And she didn't know Omar was going home. So
well, and they thought her and Omar had the bigger plan to leverage the idol nullifier. So it just really didn't seem to her like she was going to need to.
Well,
even though Omar had asked her to play it for him.
It did leave me feeling like there was something we hadn't seen, and there was.
There's a lot we hadn't seen.
And it felt that way. Even when she said it, it was like, that somehow didn't quite compute to me. But, okay, it is what it is, and we'll move along.
What did you think of Mike's pledge that he was...
Oh, please.
Is he double dipping a little here and agreeing to play the idol for Lindsay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lindsay's like, well, and I feel like she was playing him.
Yes, that seemed very manipulative with the crying.
You know, I thought
it's like she knew exactly what would get him.
She knew exactly how he would respond to that. And I'm not sure why he said that. He should always assume that the girls have talked, and Lindsay knows that he promised it to Marianne.
And who's to say he doesn't know that? Because that's all part of the challenge at this late stage in the game. Is you've got, just like Jonathan was talking about in the previous episode, I know that Lindsay knows that I know, and you're having to and you're trying to convince each other, and you're playing all these double agent games. So
yeah. Well, I think it was just like, well, you never know. I might play it for you. And she jumped on it. Yeah, please. And you got to play it for me. Yeah. You have to play it for me.
I need something.
And good on her. I mean, hey, it could have worked.
And like season 21, they get tree mail. And it turns out they've got to solve a word scramble. And then that word scramble leads them to an advantage for the Final Five challenge. You're laughing because they struggled so bad? Yeah, it was funny.
They were kind of like,
Lindsay works it out. I think Marianne could have worked it out. She helped a little bit, but she wouldn't tell him the last word. But
she seemed to
Jonathan might
want her to win it.
And oh, definitely. And she was sandbagging, she said. Marianne said that she was. So
but the others,
it was funny watching the other three struggle. Yeah.
We tried. We can't get it.
Lindsay struggled too, but she eventually figures it out. What did you think about the whole good fortune in the toes of the sleeping giant?
I don't know. I didn't love it.
The tree one from season 41 wasn't that difficult, but this one seemed like it was more of a stretch than it needed to be. And I thought the way they kept outlining that rock, which was supposed to be the toes of the giant, I thought it was going to be up top. And then it turned out to be down below.
It was up top when they showed us the picture. Yeah. It looked like it was right up on the very top. I'm like, did they move that, or were they taking it from a different angle?
We visually misunderstood.
Was that photography making it look like it was?
Yeah. Anyway, she ends up finding it, and we're told it's a slight advantage. Season 41, it turned out to be a pretty big deal.
Yes, it did.
It looked like she might have found just what she needed to save herself.
Okay, well, as we see when we get to the immunity challenge number 1.
Yep, on day 24. Got a rainbow. There's a pot of gold here for somebody.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I thought it was quite an advantage. 6 knots and her 1 knot.
Yeah.
For all 6 stations.
Right.
It's like, whoa,
So
that's considerable.
Yeah, it's a pretty big Final 5 challenge. It's one that we've seen before, where you've got to go to multiple areas and collect puzzle pieces. And then in this case, like you were just saying, you've got to untie them. Everybody has to untie 6 knots. She's only going to have to untie 1 to get the puzzle pieces. And then you got to come back over these obstacles. It's maybe just a rope with a rope above to hang on to. There's one where you got to move the 2 boards hopscotching over each other to get all the way across because it's 2 parallel ropes. And
walking across the route.
And this is also going to be a reward challenge, so they're going to get pasta. There's garlic bread and Coke and salad.
How did you like Jeff taunting them with that?
Yeah, he drew that out.
Would you like
kinda.
some pasta, maybe some garlic bread, little meat sauce, and salad? How about some dessert?
That was a good recreation of his over-dramatic delivery.
I was like, they were just
torturing
salivating.
him.
Yeah. I'm surprised they can do the challenge after that. But I guess it motivates them.
Okay, so Lindsay gets told her advantage. She's only got the 1 knot, and we're thinking, wow, that's going to be huge.
That's huge.
She's got this in the bag. She's going to have a huge
be there early.
puzzle head start. They go off. Her and Jonathan run in the same direction, but they end up doing 2 different stations. And before she can untie her 1 knot, he's done with 6 and headed back. And then we realized, that wasn't quite the advantage they thought it was. I don't know if Jonathan hacked that somehow. I don't know how he superpowered.
Just strong, I think. He
just pulled it apart.
Just pulled those knots apart.
I didn't see it. I'll have to go back and watch. We haven't done much in the way of a rewatch other than some tribal council stuff.
I don't know if they even showed it, but
yeah.
But he was
He completely
amazing.
And absolutely nullified her advantage.
That's true.
That had to gotten her head a little bit. I mean, she knows that it's a puzzle and that she's going to get ahead of him on the puzzle, but that would be...
Well, she held her own, but knowing that she only had to do 1 to his every 6.
You think she gave
Probst some grief? Would be a little bit demeaning or something.
Thanks for the advantage, Probst.
Yeah.
This really proved out to be significant.
Jeff, I wasted all that time and energy that I could have been resting up for this challenge. But anyway.
Jonathan ends up just destroying it. He's the first one back. Lindsay's a little bit later. She ends up being second to start on the puzzle. Mike's third to start, then Romeo, and then Marianne was last. Now, how did you think this was going to play out?
I thought it was either going to be Lindsay or Marianne that would win.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are known for being good at puzzles.
Yes, but I guess this was a different type of puzzle. But I still thought one of them would probably win. And especially, I
was
thought
with you,
Lindsay was going to win after she was, got the advantage.
Yes, I was right there with you. And then all of a sudden, Mike's in the lead. Whoa, where did that come from?
It's like, whoa. And Jonathan is still in the exact same place.
Yeah, as expected. Now, he got stuck.
That's why I put him to go home first. I just thought, you're going to vote him out. They have the opportunity.
Mike doesn't have it in the bag, but he was the first to complete the circle, and then Lindsay caught up with him. And then they were both down to 2 pieces, so that was exciting. Or both down to 5. Yeah, and then Mike ends up winning. And I thought on a couple different occasions, there was some good drama there. It looked like Mike's was going to fall apart, and then it looked like Lindsay's was going to fall apart even worse. But they didn't, but Mike ends up winning. Holy smokes.
That would be so hard.
Won the puzzle.
After her coming in so close with Jonathan so many times. And even though she won a few of those, so she's got nothing to hang her head about for sure. But that would be so frustrating. Just 1 piece away would have changed her entire game.
So close. So close. Yes.
Okay, well, good on you, Mike.
Mike chooses, he gets to bring 1 person on the reward, and he chooses Jonathan. Were you surprised?
No, not at all.
No, they're working together.
Absolutely.
Made some sense.
And everybody knows that's his bro.
To Mike's credit, can I take another?
Yep, I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it worked
Probe's
before.
immediate response? No.
No, you cannot.
The end.
That's it. But at least he asked, and they know he asked. So That had to be tough, though.
Yep, Lindsay's just, she was going on and on about it. It's a bit of a struggle. So close. One piece.
Oh, yeah, boy.
Can't quit now. But
she was just ragging on Jonathan something terrible. I'm a better player
oh, when
than
they got back to
Jonathan.
camp. Yeah. So Mike and Jonathan go to get their reward and go eat, and that looked like a good, proper reward.
It's like
And the
he
cake.
quit the puzzle.
Yeah.
He just quit.
He just stood there and watched Mike. Yeah, she was stewing pretty hard on Jonathan while they were
big time
stuffing their
stewing.
face.
But
Yeah.
I almost feel like it would be bad sportsmanship to be mad at Mike, so it made her even madder at Jonathan.
Yeah. Well, she hadn't gotten over the argument the previous night either. So.
And because he didn't compete, he just didn't do it. It's like, yeah, I don't know, and there's no way I'm catching this up. I'm just going to watch them. So, okay, Mike and Jonathan eat.
They were talking with food in their mouth. That was the only thing that really bothered me about that.
I know. That's a big thing for you.
Yes, it is a pet peeve.
Stacy's pet peeve.
Well, Jonathan doesn't waste time. He wants to know if he can get that idol played for
Everybody
him.
wants it. I was
Mike?
actually
Yes.
surprised that he asked him and pushed him. Mm-hmm. He didn't just ask him. He's like, I really need you to do this for
So
me,
Mike's
baby."
on the hook for this idol.
For everyone
Yes.
wants it.
So he's on the hook to Marianne, to Lindsay, and now Jonathan.
And you know what? If he'd have kept it quiet like Marianne did, nobody would have bothered him.
Yeah, it was kind of hard with the Beware advantages because they were advertising them.
That's
so
true.
even if
Yeah.
you didn't tell someone not in your tribe, then
Yeah.
other people who did tell someone in their tribe about it. Yep.
Still knew,
Yeah.
so everybody knew.
Yeah, those are designed to be broadcast and make you vulnerable.
Yep, and that does make it harder for sure. Okay, I don't know. Did Mike explain to Jonathan? I can't remember. Did he explain to Jonathan about his promise to Marianne?
Don't recall if he did to Jonathan or not, but certainly he did to Lindsay.
Yeah, I knew he did with Lindsay, but I was thinking I didn't hear him tell Jonathan that buddy, I would, but I promised Marianne. I don't want to go back on my word again.
And she works on him pretty hard, too, about potentially breaking his trust once they get back from the reward.
Yeah, and then she goes after Mike again with the whole, you have the power to save me.
If I go, you were lying to me. So that's basically a
Yeah.
threat.
Pushing that button, but it didn't work, so.
Oh, no, he does. Yeah, Mike does end up telling Jonathan that he had also promised Marianne. Sorry,
did he?
I had it in my
Okay.
notes a little further down.
Well, I thought surely he did. That's how he got out from that, would be, Jonathan would understand that, but
Mike's definitely created a dilemma for himself.
then he talks to Marianne and talks about how loyal Jonathan has always been.
Never wavered, he said. Yes.
But Marianne pointed out again, yeah, but how he treats all the women. So, obviously some of the women still have some feelings about Jonathan and how they feel he treated them. So, okay. Mike's best point that he pointed out to Marianne, I think, and probably what helped her make up her mind was, yes, Marianne, but can we beat Lindsay?
Mm-hmm.
If she gets there, can either one of us beat her? And that might have been part of the prompting that made her vote the way she did. Okay, off to tribal council. Jeff wants to make sure they tell the jury what happened with the advantage and that the other four couldn't find it.
Got to recap that riddle. Yeah.
Yep. Lindsay tells them, well, I'm probably going. I was out of the loop in the last tribal council. I didn't know Omar was playing both sides.
Last to know
Nobody
about
told
Omar.
me that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yep, he was definitely playing both sides and pretty well there for a while till he got caught. Okay, Marianne loves everyone, but she's playing the game for herself. And she may have to lie, but she's willing to do it, whatever she's got to do.
Lindsay's pretty sure she's the only one who needs to plead her case.
Well, I think she's still trying to convince them. Look, I have no social gain because of Omar.
That didn't work. Jonathan wasn't having
didn't
any
work
of
at
that.
all.
Yeah.
But she tried it. Good on her. I think she should try it. Wasn't anything else that might work. Tears, whatever. Okay. Jonathan's like, that's not true. Everybody loves Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't fooling anyone.
When it comes to Mike's turn, he's talking about how you got to find the trust to get to the end, and Marianne's trying to decide who she can align with that she can beat.
And you got to have two people who will watch each other's back. I think he's trying to tell Marianne, that's me,
And
got your back.
she sends a message. Marianne sends a message too and says that she took out Omar to make sure that she was not a goat, that there would be no confusing that. And Romeo gives Lindsay a title, the fighter. So she'll take that consolation prize, I guess. She says she likes it.
They don't always show this, but Drea turned to Omar and said, she's playing for your vote.
Yes. Yep.
And they recognize that they are playing to the jury at this point, which is exactly what they should be doing. And the jury would be doing that too if they were still in the game. So,
time to play advantages or idols. Were you surprised?
Yes, actually I was, that he played it for Marianne.
Mike, yes.
I'm going to return the loyalty she gave me. I think that was the right thing to do for him at this point. I'm not sure I wasn't sure that was the right move, but I think it was, because I think they all had come to a decision about how they were going to vote, and everybody was telling the truth. So, and I was very surprised that nothing was played.
What does that mean? What? You were very surprised.
Neither one of the idols were played.
Mike played his hidden immunity idol for Marianne, but Marianne didn't do anything.
I thought he just gave it to her.
No, he played it for Marianne.
Oh, I thought he just handed it to her.
And he got a big hug.
She didn't choose to play it, but she didn't choose to play hers regardless.
Right. That part you got correct. And Romeo played his fake idol into the fire. He wanted a little credit. Which, good on him.
Yeah, that's good. But I don't know. It came across a little strange, because he was just playing to the jury.
Well,
and it's like, that's
what he's there for.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think that was strange at all. He wanted a little credit for that.
It still kind of came off unsmoothly, let's say.
In your opinion, okay.
In my opinion, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, it's time to vote. Lindsay get 4, 1 for Jonathan. Bye-bye.
Lindsay is out. She tells us it was fun while it lasted. Hai and Omer both had sad faces.
Yeah, I even said, oh no, I liked her. It's like, well, good to know. She might have gotten his vote.
Lindsay tells us in her confessional that she loved that fighter title and that it was unanimous for her to head out. Hey, this is an aside. It wasn't the finale, but that was kind of cool to see that Survivor comboed in with Top Gun Maverick for a commercial.
That
with
was
Probst
awesome.
Giving some voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
I was like, that is so cool. Awesome.
Okay, back from that commercial.
Okay, wait. I wanted to point out something.
Okay.
At the time, because I was like, Marianne didn't play it. She didn't do anything. Why didn't she do that? And I didn't realize she had a bigger plan until the tribal council. But I was very confused why she didn't play it. And then my reasoning, I thought, oh, maybe she did it to show them that she did trust them. And trust their word that they were all voting for Lindsay, not for her. But it wasn't until we got to the finale where I realized, oh, she saved it as a big gun to pull out at the final tribal council. But at this point, I was thinking, why did she do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Final Four Challenge, day 25. Probst is on Marianne because she's huffing coming up the stairs there.
Yeah, she was.
She did know the name of the challenge, the sumo.
She's a fan.
Did I say it right? Anyway, she knew what it was called, and that impressed Probst.
Mike tells us this is the last immunity challenge, and I'm going to leave it all right here.
Big game, big players. He's all in.
Okay, we said, oh yeah, we both thought Romeo go out first, and then this and then.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, wrong again. Goodness. Romeo's going to push for what he wants. He wants final three.
Did you understand what Marianne was saying?
About?
She did her usual thing where she was talking a lot, and she talked about her emotions on her sleeve, and she's drawing on the crying, and she knew that her family was watching her, but they were separate, but together. And did you follow what she was talking about? There's someone in her family that was alienated. Is that what it was? I didn't quite follow it all.
And the two families would not be watching together, but at least...
Two families? What do you...
Or the one that had split off from the others.
Okay.
Other part
the
of the family.
member. Okay.
Her family members would be watching even though they wouldn't be watching together.
All right.
At least she knew they were watching.
There's like one person that was alienated from the family.
From the rest of...
Okay.
That's what it sounded like to me. So, yeah.
And she wants them back together more than she wants $1 million, and it's okay to be sad.
But she doesn't have control over that, obviously.
It's all about what you do with it.
Okay. But at least she knows they're watching her, and so that's encouraging.
Classic final challenge. It's dexterity. It's some endurance. Basically, they've got these rails that they drop balls into, and then there's a gate about, halfway down that flips left and right each time a ball rolls through. So there are two different exits that they have to maintain for the balls.
I have always disliked this challenge.
One hand's tied behind your back. That's got to get in your head a little bit.
It just, I don't know. It makes me nervous for them with all those balls. I'm just
you get anxious.
It makes me a
That's
nervous
why you don't
wreck.
like it.
It's like, no, I don't like this is too intense. So it makes me intense.
I'm thinking Jonathan's a shoe-in, so he's got it.
Oh,
he
yeah,
is on to
totally.
final three.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan, yeah. Nope, but this is where Jonathan says the title. It comes down to this, Mr. Jeff. They didn't put that. So, but
Probst gave some history of the challenge, which was cool while they were getting started.
I was so shocked when Mike dropped on the first ball.
Yes. I think Probst was.
Oh,
he was actually berating him.
Okay.
What happened, Mike? This is the warm-up phase.
Did you think Mike really was going to try to hide it?
It did look like that,
it
right?
And threw it up there like nothing happened.
Oh, yeah.
And Probst went, hey, you dropped it.
Yeah.
I really thought Mike was just going to...
He tried to cover, it seemed like, yeah.
It didn't happen. Just going to pretend it did not.
You saw
If
nothing.
they did not see it, it did not happen. And I thought, oh, Mike, I think you went there.
Okay, so Mike's out, and they give him 15 seconds to add the second ball, and then
Marianne's out.
Out.
Wow.
So it's down to Jonathan and Romeo.
I really thought it was going to be
Didn't really think it was a competition.
Really?
At this point. I was still convinced Jonathan was going to win.
Well, yeah.
Probst tells us kids can do it at this stage with just 2 balls after Marianne goes out. So he's giving her grief too. And then they get up to 3 and then 4. Now 4 are active.
But Jeff gives them this wonderful advice. Spacing is critical.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah.
True. Yep. Oh, so true.
And then who drops?
Jonathan. Wait a minute.
Like,
how did Romeo win this?
Kidding me?
Yeah.
I made some kind of joke or something about Romeo winning or something. Oh, it's probably Romeo win now. We said he was first out or something.
It really overwhelmed him too.
Oh my goodness.
Romeo tells us that he's been at the bottom for so long. He's just been hanging on. He's been this just in case vote. In case something goes sideways, I'm the next guy to go. I'm always the plan B to be voted out.
And he's always wanting to teach his pageant girls and
never give up.
Never give up.
Here's your example right here. Perfect life lesson. He will be referencing this for the rest of his life, I'm sure.
He's got the shiny dress now.
Yeah, I like that line. That was great.
Cute.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, Romeo just took himself to the finals.
Amazing.
I was like, You could have just blown me over. The soft.
You can't say,
wind.
with a feather, with a breeze.
Yeah.
You can't say he's going to be a no-vote goat.
It's like,
Even if he
okay.
gets no votes, he got himself.
He got himself there. That
So
makes
first,
all the difference
Mike
in the world.
wins, and now Romeo wins. And now Romeo's got to decide
Whoa.
who makes fire. This is, wow.
Yeah.
I
that's
did
what I
not
thought.
see this twist coming. So this
I
is
was like,
weird.
we're like, what if Romeo wins? And I was like, I don't care about my score at all. Let's do something exciting. Let's go. You know,
Yeah.
that was. It's like, wow. And it wasn't
We were
just you
stunned.
and me. It was
Yeah.
the people in the listener feedback show. You know, everybody was discounting Romeo.
Well, you had
He
no
was
reason
just
to count him.
total goat.
And now he shows up in the finale and delivers. Way
I
to
just
go,
couldn't
Romeo.
believe that. Well, good on him. Yes,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Everybody's got kudos for him when they get back to camp there on day 25. Romeo tells us he's feeling like the MVP, like Miss Universe, like the prom queen, and this is vengeance for all the dismissive, horrible tribal councils he's had to endure.
Yeah, I was still writing all this. Way to go! Yeah, vinyl there. So, and wow,
What did you think
beat
about?
Jonathan?
Yes,
Wow.
stunner.
Impressive.
Yes, and it's like
Impressive.
the two immunity challenges made the finale for me. Having these surprise winners.
Yeah.
Had no clue, didn't see that coming at all. I'm like, my final five order is a mess now.
Well,
But this
and
is so exciting to see these two step up their game and deliver at the end.
He went there. He said, "This is vengeance for all those tribal councils where everybody dissed me and wrote my name down." He went straight to vengeance. I was like, okay. But good on you, Romeo. That was awesome.
Mike pulls Romeo aside first, and he says, "Send me to make fire."
But how neat is that? Now they got to go to Romeo to grovel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah.
Well, to
yeah.
make their case. Did you
Well.
feel like anyone was groveling?
Well, it is groveling when you're going and asking for something, in my opinion. But,
No, groveling's all in how you do it.
well,
Just because you ask for something didn't mean you're groveling. Groveling's in about how you go about it.
thank you for your opinion.
Okay. You struggling with facts and opinions again?
I'm
Mike
just
tells him
enjoying it at
there's
this point.
there's no animosity. I'm the most dangerous, and I have to be given that opportunity to beat Jonathan. I liked how he was aggressive and got out in front and made his case.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it
And,
turns out Mike isn't super confident in his ability to make fire, but good on him for doing this. And while Mike and Romeo are talking, we see Jonathan and Marianne talking, and Jonathan starts a fire in under 10 seconds, and within 30, he's got those small twigs, the kindling burning. So just like you would expect, it was impressive to see him pull that off. And Marianne tells us, well, it's best for me if Mike and Jonathan are in the fire making challenge. So she's got no problem offering tips to Jonathan.
Well, yeah. So what that told me was that, well, she's confident she could make fire. I mean, she did go practice later, but if she's given Jonathan, tips and tricks to get it going, then she must at least feel confident enough that she could do it. But anyway, Mike then tells Jonathan, look, if an out is offered, take it. It's like,
He
yeah.
was trying to get Jonathan to bow out. So he gave a good blustery front to Romeo to try to convince Romeo not to take him, and then he's telling
Jonathan kind of laughed and
step
just
up.
said,
Yeah,
"You're
right.
not going to get in my head."
Here we
dude."
go with the double talk again. Yeah.
So, but then Mike and Marianne both go off. Mike took off to go practice. They all knew where he was going. And Marianne decides, well, maybe she should practice some too,
Yep.
just in case.
She appears to be
Romeo
better
said-
at it than Mike, but Mike did know what he was doing, and eventually he got the fire going,
Well,
even though he struggled.
Here's Mike's prediction. If I win making fire, I will win Survivor 42.
Yeah.
And so he obviously believed that. Okay, here we go. Tribal Council. Jeff's got a recap.
Jury's shocked that Romeo had won.
Totally.
some good shocked faces there.
They're like, man, Romeo showed up. And he's like, I did it. I always encourage people to be the best they can be, and I did it.
Lived his own advice.
Yeah, that was nice to see him feel good about his game.
Marianne tells us she's so nervous she could vomit, but anything could happen.
Trouble counts.
Jonathan's confident. He said he's pretty good at making fire.
They all said, please don't, Marianne.
Mike tells us he'll give it his best shot.
And he tells us, yep, it's me and Jonathan. I'm the target tonight. And Romeo says, sorry, gotta go with my gut.
He'd given it a lot of thought.
Yep, and he's gonna take Marianne.
Jonathan was eyeing the different stations. I was wondering what he was doing there.
Looking.
Trying to see if he wanted the left one or the right one, maybe. Checking the material, see if there was anything different.
What was there, just to get jump ahead with the idea of what he wants to do and how he wants to do it with what's there.
Romeo picks Marianne to sit with him, so we got Jonathan and Mike making fire. I love you, man.
I was so surprised. That was another great excitement because you figure, right, going in.
Jonathan's got this.
Jonathan's
Mike's
made
done.
fire all season. And Mike's not feeling that confident.
He wasn't confident. He struggled in the practice. He's the firefighter, not the fire maker. You're thinking the odds are not in his favor, but he ends up getting flame first.
Well, and a huge flame there for a while. It's like,
Roxroy was trying to coach him non-verbally. He kept TPing, steepling his hands to say, make that TP.
Make it this way, guys.
Without saying anything out loud.
Yep.
Mike even got his fire up high first. It was dancing around.
Oh, yeah.
It looked like Jonathan was going to make a comeback, but
I didn't ever see Jonathan's rope actually spark or burn, though, like Mike's was.
Nope, he was trailing the whole time. And Mike ends up winning.
I'm sure it went on a lot longer because, you'd see it flaming and then it would be blowing off a different direction and nowhere even near the string. And then it'd be back flaming straight up again.
Jonathan tells us that Mike built an inferno and he lost. He told Probst, I figured if I lost, I was meant to lose. And Mike beat me fair and square.
And Mike was just ecstatic to beat Jonathan.
Definitely an accomplishment.
Right. That was another feather in his cap. So I'm sure he really thought he was going to win. So,
Probst let Jonathan give the tribe has spoken phrase for his too. He said, Jonathan said, I fought the good fight. And then Probst let him finish.
Mr. Jeff.
The tribe has spoken.
Yeah, both he and Trey, I got to say, the tribe has spoken.
So final three, Mike, Romeo, and Marianne.
Jeff tells them your job is not done. They will make you prove why you deserve to win.
And then in Jonathan's confessional after that, he tells us that he was shocked at how fast Mike beat him.
And it just took off so fast.
He also says if he does get another chance to play Survivor, he'll definitely be back. And I think he's totally going to get another chance.
Yes,
as long as they're around. They were already considering him given his performance this season.
Yeah, they might have already even asked him. Well, they've done that before. Who was it they pulled? Was it Ozzy? They pulled from one season and pulled him out right at the end and said, hey, did you want to, back to back?
At the end of it, I think that happened to Malcolm.
Was that who it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I knew they did that with somebody. Yeah, it probably was Malcolm.
Yeah, but I don't think they asked him before he was out of the game. It sounded like that's what you were saying.
I kind of thought they did.
No.
Or hinted at least. And then asked after.
Sunrise, day 26, the last day there for the Kula Kula group.
But Jonathan added that I'll be right back out here. If I get the chance, I'll be right back out here. That's what made me think he might return to a season not too far away.
Okay, day 26.
Okay.
Sunrise. Mike says, look how different we all are. Got one from each tribe. Very cool. And some great diversity there at the end. What did you think about the jury weighing in, that they intercut that? Usually we get all that.
That doesn't normally happen.
No, because normally you get that in the Ponderosa videos, but since we didn't get Ponderosa videos, they gave us a little taste of it here with a few people talking about what they would be looking for.
Yep, Hi and Omar want Mike to confess to being a snake.
To own it.
Yeah, own it.
And we've heard that before.
And Chanel and Roxroy, if the underdog was Romeo's game, that's great. But tell us that was your game.
Yeah. And then Omer gives us, which it won't be the last time, he gives us his elephant versus the cockroach comparison. If you're the cockroach, then everybody wants you to just own your game. That's what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. We know what we think about your game, given what we know at this point. And if that was your strategy and you own it, well, then you could very well get our vote.
Marianne tells us that she needs to just show that I can be myself. And Hi is already saying, what did Marianne do? Yeah. And Tori's like, I like Marianne, but, you don't always vote for just who you like. Sometimes you do. Drea says, I can't give her the money just because I like her.
Yeah, I hope she sways me. And even Lindsay, who spent the most time with her there, is wondering, what did you do, Marianne?
Well, and Marianne tells us flat out, I know I can close the deal. So she's given a lot more thought than we were aware of.
Drea wants them all to fight for it, which is what we want too.
So, I was surprised they put in the part where Hi said that the ending of Survivor 42 would be the most surprising ever. And this was before Tribal Council.
Yeah, I think maybe he was saying that just based on who was going to show up, given how things played out.
Okay.
And I think a lot of the fans were surprised to see this be the final three. I know I was.
And Drea just wants to see them fight for it. It's like, all right, sounds like a fun Tribal Council. Let's go. Final one for the season.
Probst tells us now is the time for you to claim your victory. Don't be passive. Take it.
You have to fight or you won't get it.
And he tells the jury, I want you to hold them accountable. I want you to be tough and respectful. Okay, everybody take a deep breath. We're like an hour and 45 minutes into the finale here at this point.
Yep. We're going to cover social, physical, and strategic.
First up, social.
Go Omar.
He gives them the congratulations, since he's just dying to talk, since it's their first opportunity, he says, to talk to him. Says it's been an unpredictable season. He's acknowledging how they got this exact final three.
And I thought, what I'm thinking is he's saying this, give us your strategy and, so we'll know how we can decide. And I thought,
we need to hear from you.
This is why everybody was afraid of Omar. They like that he can verbalize well. Mm-hmm. And that's why nobody wanted him in the final three.
He wants, and there was I'll include it in the show notes. There was the Final Five speak on EW.com. So there's a little bit that Dalton Ross got to ask him some questions. And when he asked them, of the people in the jury, who were you most impressed with? Who do you think would have won? And almost everyone, well, it was everyone but Lindsay said Omer would have won if he had made it. And Lindsay said Drea.
Really? Interesting.
Yep. Okay, Tori's up after we get to the, Omer gives him the cockroach and the elephant speech again, natural selection, and he tells him the votes are open, we need to hear from you. Tori wants to hear about their social game, but she starts by telling him, this is my perception of you and your social game.
Mike's,
am I
you
correct?
Want to be honest and don't lie, and Romeo, I perceive you as quiet and
frantically paranoid.
Paranoid, yep. It's like, okay, well.
And Marianne, you're bubbly and silly and goofy. Am I accurate? So she checks in with Mike, and he took that bait. Yes, he's honorable. There's only one time.
Setting you up.
Only one time he said where he went against his word, and that was with the Roxroy vote.
And I thought, I don't buy that, Mike. Not that you're not a good guy, and that I'm sure in your everyday life you probably are a very honest man, But
It's a trap. It's almost always a trap
it always is, in my opinion.
when they ask you that.
They just want to hear you say it, so they'll have their rebuttal ready.
Yes. You got to own it. You had to be deceptive at some point.
Uh-huh.
But he appeared to take the bait.
Well, what they want to say is, oh, yeah? Well, then when you did this to me and you said this to me, or you said that to this person.
Marianne's response to Tori was, well, I saw all the young people getting taken out, so that's why I had to be under the radar and be goofy.
That was good. I kind of like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Picking them off.
It was a good enough response, yeah.
Ones.
I like that Romeo owned his too. I was paranoid, and I didn't vote for you guys. But he was always, I didn't cast the vote for the person who got voted out because I didn't want to vote for you.
Well, and he talked about feeling like he went from being a boss to an employee. I'm not sure. I guess when he was tight with Drea, maybe he felt like a boss. And then,
well, he meant on Ika. He was part of the alliance that was calling the shots. And it was the merge that threw him, yeah.
Mostly, he was associated with Drea, and
Hyde
she was with
was
Rox.
not going to let Romeo off the hook. He said, what about that hinky vote? And then what about when you were gaslighting me? Hyde proves once again that he's got a little trouble with vocabulary, whether it's misogyny or now with the gaslighting phrase. He doesn't quite have the definition, at least the common vernacular of those definitions. He seemed like he didn't understand it. And Romeo eventually did own up to it, and I thought he gave a really good answer. And it was like he discovered it in the moment of giving the answer. Did you feel that way? When he said he was hurt when he realized that Drea had replaced him with High.
Right.
And that seemed to be exactly what High wanted to hear.
Yeah.
He was quick on that.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yes, thank you for acknowledging that.
That was
you did it out of being hurt, out of emotional pain. That's why you lied to me.
To do that to me.
Yeah.
You had a reason. Okay, great.
So
you had a reason.
Yeah, he gave High what he was looking for. I don't know if he believed it or not, but it was the perfect answer for High, at least the way it was presented to us.
Well, then Omar calls Mike on, hey, did you not lie to Drea on the beach?
Mike fumbled again.
He fumbled that one. For sure.
Yeah, he tells him, well, I had to protect himself, but that was me having integrity to myself.
Well, and then Chanel followed up and
she tried to help him.
Okay, how many people did you shake their hand and make promises?
Well, she told him, you're not getting it. How many lies did you tell?
Yes. Didn't tell.
Then Mike's rebuttal was, well, I only did it if they actively tried to deceive
came after
me.
Him first.
Yes.
Like High did. And High's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Lindsay, she put a stop to that pretty quick. She said, you're okay if it's you telling the lie or if it's you talking to someone else. But if we go talk to someone else, then we've turned on you.
Which is exactly what she did. Right? She was on to Jonathan, and
oh yeah,
you lied, you didn't tell me. Well, you didn't tell him either that you were voting for him, and so yeah, that's a common one that gets thrown at people that probably most of the people in the jury actually did.
Jonathan, I thought, was trying to help him.
I thought
basically
he was
saying,
too.
"Hey, you need to own this.
You need to own it.
Yeah,
you need to own it."
Drea tried to calm things down. I wonder if it was getting more heated than what we appeared to see there.
Well, and when they told Mike that Omar lied to you, I wonder if that's the first time Mike knew that Omar was lying.
Yeah, I wish they would have dug into that a little more and really laid it out for him.
I thought, is this the first Mike's heard of it? Because they're not showing us that. And I believe that that's the first Mike knew of it. That he was lying to you all along. I didn't do that. And and I really would have liked to have seen that reaction. But
what did you think about Omar to Marianne, where he asked her about having a sloppy social game?
Well, I thought that was a good question, and like she said, it gave her an opportunity to respond, and I thought most of her answers were pretty good. I thought they were honest.
Yeah, she said she didn't realize that she was being sloppy, but again, she owned it.
Yeah, well, I think she eventually realized more than she had in the beginning, and she made changes.
She did, eventually. What's
Yes,
interesting about
eventually.
how this played out to me was that her game, for the most part, started on day 23. It's an interesting sequence of events. I'll come back and say some more about that. But
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. but
Lindsay
okay.
tried to give her an easy pitch. She said, was there anyone that you drew in? Anyone that so that you can give an example of how you played socially? And so she said, yeah, I got Romeo to help with the Omer vote. And then she tripped up about taking too much credit for the Omer vote, and Jonathan had to correct her on that. I told Mike, he told you. She didn't seem to handle that one quite as good or cleanly, I thought.
Well, and Mike talked about how the people opened up to him, and he felt that they shared so much of themselves, like Omar sharing about his religion and all of that with him, and how much that meant to him, and that he didn't think he had a very good social game. And Drea popped up and said, "Hey, your social game is the reason I went home." So that's not going to fly. They were still, I thought, kind of treating him like, "You're still lying."
Or in that case, you're not giving yourself enough credit because look what you did to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Well,
way to
that's
frame
human
it. Yeah.
nature, though. That's pretty much
Sure.
the way it is.
Well, that was her experience
It's
too.
like, I'm sorry, you did this to me, and I haven't forgotten that.
There wasn't a whole lot to say about the physical side of the game there.
No.
That seemed to go super quick. Roxroy wanted to hear about basic skills, and so we got to hear Marianne talk about palm fronds and how she was able to scale and gut fish. And Mike, with his impeccable work ethic and thanked him for building that merge shelter for him, even though Mike kind of downplayed it and said, I didn't know what I was doing. But they seemed very impressed with all that he contributed in that regard. And then we hear from Romeo that he learned how to swim just before going out there.
So many people do that. And that he's terrified of heights, which so am I. So I get that one for sure.
Definitely impressed Lindsay there.
Well, and I guess he's mostly explaining why it felt so good when he won and felt all powerful.
Would have been better if he downplayed the all-powerful
Yeah.
piece a
Well,
little bit, but
Drea wanted to, well, what was the biggest move you made on your own? Because that's what they were trying to get from him.
for strategy. Yeah, so we pivoted
Yeah.
from physical into strategy, and Andrea said, this is really where my vote's going to come from. So Romeo did what? He created a fake idol,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
he got himself to Final 3. That's huge.
Yes, that was huge. And
High asked him, well, why take Marianne? And he seemed to have a good answer.
he did. I
I
appreciated
Thought
it.
she didn't have a strategy.
Well, and they kind of did too at the time. So I think that they related to that because
How could
They
you
wanted
not?
to-
I don't
yeah.
think she did until 23, right towards the end.
well, they even if she had, they hadn't seen it and they didn't understand it. So that made perfect sense to them that's why he took her.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect answer.
Yep,
I think
he did good.
Yeah.
We got to see everybody. Well, we got to see Marianne and Romeo giving good answers. Mike seemed to stumble. He didn't deliver as cleanly as they did, given what we were shown.
Well, High asked Mike if he was playing more emotionally or was he playing a strategic game.
I like that. This part he got right. I was doing both. I really was.
I thought a lot of
And
his
he's-
answers.
Sorry, I just want to say, he told High what High wanted to hear.
Yes.
I was
well,
doing
that's-
both, and I had to get you out. That was the biggest thing that I did when I recognized that I had to get you.
I think some of Mike's answers confused him and he became more hesitant with his answers, and I think that hurt him.
Yes.
And more confused about,
Was it-
well, maybe I did
At this
play
point, yeah, it was
with, I hadn't seen that. And
at this point he acknowledged and said, I might not have had the integrity I thought I did.
I thought I did,
I'm
but
getting that now.
they
but
keep telling me I did not. So
But it wasn't enough. And Drea asked Marianne, well, what did you do from a strategic perspective?
that was
a good explanation
beautiful.
she gave her lots of herself as many options as she could for Final 3. And
She whips out that idol.
that really seemed to push him over the top there.
And pointed out, I am the only one in this season that did not tail.
Again, this seems like an incredibly low bar, but
it worked.
it was enough. And if you ever have doubts, this is yet another perfect example of how much luck is involved, because that did seem to hold sway with the jury.
Very much so, yeah.
Lindsay had to be just millimeters away from having that thing in her possession, but she didn't.
Yeah.
And then Marianne ended up having it, and it ends up being what looks like a linchpin moment for her in tribal council. And she didn't have to play it, but it does end up looking like it was really significant, that it resonated with the jury in a significant way.
Well, yeah, and you could tell that made a huge impact, or I thought it did, on Lindsay, with her talking about, look, this was very hard for me. I wanted to take you to the final 3, but I couldn't beat you. Well, of course, that's exactly what Lindsay wanted to hear. And she's like, I couldn't beat you. I really wanted to. But if I were going to honor myself and set myself up to be able to win, I had to do things differently, not how I normally would emotionally react.
Yeah, it's a good classic question that Chanel asked, because it was about what was your personal evolution?
Exactly.
And so Marianne got to tell that, what you were just saying. Mike emphasized, hey, I was able to do this as someone who was 57. So being able to show that older.
And I got along with the younger generation. So.
And Romeo had a good answer too about how he had just been able to squeak by and then played from the bottom for so long, and then.
And that's not how he wanted to play. It was just the hand he was dealt, so he played it. But he didn't give up. And then he talks about what he gained as far as being a free man and leaving and being out.
Yes.
And being happy about it, regardless of what his family thinks about it.
Probst tells him, it's a great jury. We got a great final 3 here. You guys, everyone should be proud. And then they cut over to the jury, and you see Jonathan asking, does he read the votes now? And who is it? Lindsay was laughing at him.
They were like, oh, we thought you were serious.
Yeah, Drea was laughing at him. And then Probst tells him, I'm going to read the votes now.
So maybe Jonathan was psychic and he saw it coming.
Okay, so we get 1 vote for Mike, and we get a vote for Marianne, and then the rest of the votes are for Marianne. Romeo didn't get any, but Romeo, not a goat. Romeo took himself to the end, so
Absolutely.
I'm calling it from my perspective.
I'm good with that too.
That means he canceled the whole goat thing.
Yep, I agree. That's how I feel too.
I don't care that he didn't get any votes.
You got yourself there. You were not taken. That means you are not a goat.
Yeah.
So that just wiped the slate.
So Marianne as the winner. What did you think? What are your thoughts?
I think the only reason Mike got a vote was to distinguish him as second place and Romeo in third. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think it would have been unanimous. And I think they might have discussed something like that at some point. I don't know if they gave, but you have to assume they gave him a little bit of time. Jeff said he was going to let them think, but I still feel like that was orchestrated. It wasn't just everyone.
Well, that would have meant that they were lying coming in when they said that the votes were open.
No, I don't think they were lying. I'm thinking that they had just discussed certain things, that whoever they went with, they wanted to make sure it was a clear first, second, third.
You know, for me, I could still see, although he didn't distinguish himself, I could see a greater. Oh, what does that mean?
Jonathan gave the vote.
Oh, yeah, that was my guess. But what I was going to say is, when you look across the full spectrum of the game, Mike was a more significant player, so I could see someone coming to that conclusion. It's easy to get impressed with the end game. Look, I'm super impressed that Romeo got himself to the final 3, and absolutely Marianne made a significant play there to get Omer out. That was huge. Everybody thought Omer was going to win.
Yep.
There's a big recency bias that's potentially going on there. Over the scheme of the season, I don't see her being a factor or significant.
Here's the thing that trips people up. Sometimes being everybody's best friend will get you voted out early. Sometimes it will take you toward the end, and sometimes people win that way.
Well,
However, you always risk the chance. If you're that close, you make really strong connections with everybody and then have to vote them out. They're going to be hurt.
well, this is what you were talking about was probably the biggest thing facing Omer
Yes.
because he had done that. And Mike's game was very similar to his. Mm-hmm. I felt like Marianne got some not Mike votes, is where I was going with that. So I wasn't surprised to see a
yeah.
Mike vote.
You kept saying that, and that may have been the case, but I really kind of think she won him over. I think she did it, so I'm going to give her credit for it, that she won him over with the things she said, and that was what they were after. They wanted a reason not to give it to Mike, and she gave it to him. She gave them what they really wanted. She gave them enough.
See, I would say some of those are not Mike votes,
Yeah.
because he didn't own the game the way that they wanted him to. But in any case, wow, that was a pretty good finale.
It was.
I enjoyed with the surprise Mike win and then the Romeo win on top of that. And
Yep.
they seemed to acquit themselves with Mike stumbling. Romeo and Marianne had really good
And the fire challenge. all
tribal
of it.
council. Yes,
All the competitions were awesome.
yes.
And everybody, there was nobody that was real snotty or anything at tribal.
Right.
I mean, you could tell some of them still had issues.
I definitely
But they
wanted
weren't.
to some resolution for
Yeah,
some things.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he probably still will, but they'll hash it out.
I think a lot of people, some people are going to love it because you got the bubbly, positive person winning, and other people are going to be scratching their heads and saying, wait a second, how do you show up at the very end and end up winning like that?
Well, just that way. That's what
It was
gave
enough.
the jury what they wanted.
And they make up the rules for what they're going to value.
That's why people are afraid of people who are able to pull their thoughts together and express themselves in a way that the jury went, oh, okay, didn't know that, didn't see that. Good on you. You kept that quiet.
Give them some aha moments.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay, so same drill as last time for the after party, as Probst called it. So pizza and champagne. Marianne's 23 years old, one of our youngest winners.
yeah, usually I would think someone real young, the money could be a hindrance in some ways if they're not mature enough and responsible enough to know what to do with it or have someone that can help guide them.
See, given what we
I
were
don't
shown of
feel
her
that
in the
about
show,
her.
I think you just described her.
Well, no, I don't think so. I think she has a serious side as well, and that she has genuine needs for the money. And after hearing Mike, and I may be jumping ahead, but after hearing Mike say, I didn't really need the money, and Romeo say, well, he wasn't there for the money.
Well,
He
what
was
are you
there
going to
for
say when you didn't win?
Well, they didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, but you get put on the spot.
If I couldn't win, I'm happy to see her win.
Yeah.
But you don't have to say, well, I didn't need the money. I didn't really need the money. It's like, well, okay, then I'm glad she got it because I think she does. So, okay, so be it.
What did you think about the jury's response to Probst's sway questions? Did they get swayed?
I don't know that I thought much about it at all.
Hi, Andrea said they were. Yep. So there was a lot of elusive strategy that they wanted some answers for.
Mike said the same thing when questioned. She deserves it. No regrets on my part. I'm happy I got to play at my age.
All right. Refills on pizza and champagne. Mm-hmm. They recapped the amulet advantage. You know what I was surprised they didn't go back and visit? All the Jonathan moments.
Really?
Yeah, because they were so standout. He was so dominant.
Oh, some of the... Well,
yeah.
they did do that with the Top Gun. Don't you think a lot of those were Jonathan moments? There was some Lindsay as well.
In the commercial, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they highlighted Jonathan and Lindsay in that commercial. That they should
That's a
both
good
really
point.
be happy
Yeah.
about that. So I think they did do that.
The amulet advantage recap seemed to be pretty much a waste. It's like the other people had heard the details, they knew about it. So
Yeah, that's how I kind of felt about that all along, a little bit. So
I like that Drea got to list all the advantages that she had. Even she forgot one.
Yeah, she forgot.
She forgot the amulet advantage there for a second.
Yep. So she got her moment.
No real surprise that Roxroy didn't recognize the clues, even when they were all three spoken. That was typical, but it was funny.
Already thinking about something else, and whatever they were saying, and they all kind of.
I didn't buy Lindsay's. Yeah, I thought "do or die" was a cool twist thing at all.
Yeah.
When she said she regretted the choice of participating, that was the most truthful thing that she had said. Yeah, and that was cool that they talked about how she was originally supposed to be on 41.
Oh yeah.
So they sent Tiffany out to replace her for 41. They didn't talk about who she replaced, or if she had replaced anyone to get on 42, though.
Yeah, they might not have cast it, or they might have been holding a spot for her since she had pushed for it. But at least she got over COVID and was able to go out the next time.
You know, I didn't care for the part where Probst was pushing them. Give us your thoughts on the new era and all of that.
Yeah, tell us how much fun you had this season.
Yeah.
Basically, what Chanel talked about how weak she was from no food, that was very surprising that she could feel that way so soon. And
I got to think there's some Stockholm syndrome going on. You're asking the people that you just put through all this, and it's at the end, and 3 of them haven't eaten very much at all, at least, up until this point, and they're drinking down champagne, and look like Marianne might have had some soda there, and then eating pizza at the same time. Anyway, I didn't buy it.
yeah, Jonathan talks about being in the small tribes, which would scare him, being such a big guy.
But it didn't matter where he was.
But this was
small tribe, big tribe, he was going to stand out no matter what.
My point being is that the things they talked about were all like bullet points for Omar's, like, oh, the shot in the dark. Man, that could have thrown real chaos into tribal council. It's like they were hitting the highlights of the season. Like they had said, you should talk about this and you should talk about your experience with that. And Mike talked about the beware advantage and that he didn't care about that until he stopped and thought about it and
How
then
it
saw
exposed
what he
him,
had to give up.
Realized what he had done. Yeah.
So to me, it was like hitting these points about the season that they wanted to highlight. Each person did that.
Well, to me, it was Probst
different
wanting strokes for, hey, look, I made the game shorter. I made it faster. I made it harder. Now you don't have food. Now you got small tribes. Now you got to earn the merge.
Yeah, I think we're kind of saying the same thing, just in a little bit different way.
Well, and there was a couple of articles that came out today where they talked to Probst, and he said, yeah, we're going to do it again. 26 days? Yes, we're doing that again. Small tribes, you betcha. That's what you're going to get from here on out.
Well, here's what they're telling people, too, is they exposed Chanel and Mike for when they had no vote at that tribal council, and High was so confused. If they're going to continue to do those, they're just showing you what could happen and why you might not want to do certain things if you get the opportunity in your season.
And he wants them to talk about how much they cried. So Marianne, Tori, Omer, Drea, yeah, they all talked about how much they cried. And then he wants Omer to come up with 3 animals for the final 3.
Yeah.
This is just silly goofiness.
Yeah, and Lindsay had to talk about all the twists and how awesome all the twists were when the rules are changing. And I thought this just got a little bit too much about...
I think probably the reason it bugged me because I'd read those Probst interviews earlier, and they're going to do the shot in the dark. They're going to do the hourglass thing again. Probst loves all these. It's the new Survivor for him. So anyway, Marianne is a parrot with the intelligence of a toddler. Romeo's a baby bird that broke his wing. And struggling. Mike's
that felt a little bit of a jab at Marianne to me.
Well, he explained.
Right.
He didn't
I
mean that she
know,
had the
but,
intelligence of a top. He was trying to say the parrot is incredibly smart for a bird.
I know.
But yeah. And then Mike is a koala bear. All right.
Which koala is not a bear at all. Which
Yeah.
we learned when we were in Australia.
Yeah.
And we kept saying koala bear, and they go, no, it's not a bear. So, okay, Drea had plenty of moments where she cried at night by herself. That we didn't really get to see much of. And even Mike talking about how emotional he was out there. It's like, oh, well, we know there's a whole lot we don't see. But it was interesting to hear those little tidbits out of all the other stuff. But
When they were talking about the feelings, the Marianne one was probably the one that I liked, which was her sister pointing out, how come winning wasn't on your bucket list, just being on
Yeah,
there? That was
exactly.
good.
Where
Where she gave her sister
allowing
credit
yourself to win.
for doing that. And what did you see when you saw the season 43 preview? Did anything stand out for you?
Not a whole lot.
You know what I saw?
What?
Hey, more of the same, except the cast is younger.
Yeah. It's interesting that one of the cast has an artificial leg.
Yep, definitely seen that before a couple times. So.
Yeah. What was it? Chad had an artificial limb when he played, and
Vanuatu, yeah. And
Yeah.
then we had another one in Nicaragua, I think.
yeah.
I didn't see anything. It just looked like more of the same. So I don't know, didn't stand out for me. It didn't spark yet.
No, and it won't, because they're not going to tell us too much. And, we saw just a little snippet of the cast, and we'll have to wait till we can get in their bios. But I really hope they bring the Ponderosa back. Very much missed that. So, Jeff, please bring it back.
Well, he seems pretty happy with the changes that they've made.
Yep,
So we'll see. How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. Congratulations to DanSparks in Washington for winning JSFL this season with 133 points.
Okay. How about the side challenge?
Congratulations to Laurel for winning the side challenge with 114 points. With 110, ColdMike, 102, Drew, 101, Jeremiah, 93, Justin, 82, Rebecca, 81, Stacy, 73, Robert, and 59, Parker.
All right.
So Parker will be
Parker's
entertaining
gonna
us.
sing. Yeah. All right.
And,
He was just talking about how he was looking forward to that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
No, I don't think he was. He
How-
was really
how he was
hoping he
dreading
wasn't
and
gonna.
hoping,
Yeah, so we'll need Laurel to come up with a song that Parker can do a parody of based on the events in season 42.
Excellent. And Parker, that will be due by the Jabbick show.
Part 2 for season 43.
Absolutely.
So coming up in
or
September.
sooner.
Yes.
My advice every time is I would advise doing it now while it's fresh in your memory. Most of the time people don't, but trust me.
Well, he's busy being a camp counselor right now.
Oh, yeah, well,
So, Laurel, if you could get us that song title so that we can announce it in the listener feedback show
on Saturday.
on Saturday, that would be perfect.
Yes.
And the listener reward bonus question, the answer there was Marianne. We had 88 people get that correct.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, good job. Thank you, active listeners.
What a season. I really enjoyed the finale.
Is a great cast. Enjoyed the finale, and I was surprised time and time again
Which
in
is
the finale.
what I
Yes.
always enjoy.
Yes, what you hope for. Well, that's our take on it, our recap. We're looking forward to hearing what you thought about the finale and what you thought about the season as a whole. What did you think about these last two challenges and how people did? And what did you think about the jury, their questions? Anybody stand out there and the answers? What was significant? You can call and leave a voicemail, 206-350-1547, toll free 8446-438-737. You can write it up and we'll read it in the show, or you can record your own audio and send that to the email address at joanneandstacyshow gmail.com. Keep it in 3-minute range so we can get everybody in. Feedback's due noon Pacific on Saturday.
And will be our last one
for the season.
The season.
Would love to have you come take a part. Share your thoughts on this season and the finale. Anything else?
I don't believe so.
Have a good one.